What do you do, guys? Rich Boy J here, back in with another video, and we are here celebrating another Vardos live stream. I said Vardos, Starkiller base. I'll get that right one day. I swear, whenever I record the Starkiller base updates, I probably almost always start off by saying Vardos in the video, then I have to re-record it. But that's besides the point. What's going on, guys? Glad to see a lot of familiar faces in the chat, a lot of new faces in the chat. I'm doing well today. Thanks for asking, Isaiah. We got Fresh Bricks, Rex 555's Marto. I don't know who that is, but welcome. What's up, Sharpshooter 34? Would it be what it do? Back with another Starkiller base review. What? I like that. I'm halfway considering just making all of my videos raps, like just rap through the entire Starkiller base update. Shout out to that boy Vonreg, starting us off right with a $5 donation. He says, "Yeeter yeet yeet gang gang," spoken by Yoda. I remember when he said that. Hello, collecting bricks. She says, "Are the porgs in porg school?" Yes, they are. All right, see ya, Jeff Stark. Thanks for coming through. What's up, Woo and Amber Productions? Appreciate that, Alex Carrera. Hey Jay, it's ESB2. I got a name change. What do you think? Yeah, I just noticed that whenever I was like updating the donor leaders in the description there, I was like, oh, Bricktorian Gaurd. I guess that's ESB now. But yeah, I like it. Like it a lot. Old Town Vardos. So, I mean, I hate that song. I don't know. Is that a controversial thing to say? I don't know if I'd want to collab on that song. I would totally do a collab with Justin Bieber, though. Will you see Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Absolutely. Isaiah says, did you say you hate Old Town Road? I do. I can't stand that song. I cannot stand that song at all. Or my first order game. Yeah, shout out to Vonreg again. Shout out to all my first order boys out there putting in work. I'm glad you agree, John Cena. That song is awful. Banished from the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga Kingdom. It's just I just don't care for that song like at all. I just want a Gungan battle pack. I just want a boyo battle pack. I need to figure out a catchy Gungan Battle Pack song. That's our task for today, guys. It's all about that Gungan Battle Pack. Nav says he'd rather do a collab with Just Too Good than Justin Bieber. Just Too Good is the superior Justin. That's a fact. Hey, shout out to SW75. We got 3 donos right off the bat. He says, what are you working on today? I guess my mic's kind of in the way. But if you look right here, I'm basically continuing the border on the mock coming along this way. So yeah, that's what's happening. I'm going to build up the ice on the very edge of it. And then I will, it came up on the screen late. And then I will basically build the platform and leave some space to where the TIE fighters are going to be. If you'll notice on these like edge sections, I can actually move this out the way, or these out the way, so you can. I have so many TIE fighters, guys. I love it. Someone should name this. Anyways, yeah. So I leave a lot of these areas bare because I mean it's going to be kind of obstructed by the TIE fighters, so I don't want to spend a ton of time building ice details that ultimately won't be seen, even though that's kind of the case in the middle of the platform while the figures are standing there. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be as beneficial to really go all in on the snow details on the ground right below the TIE fighters. Are you making custom vehicles? Yes! I'm going to be making a custom first order transporter. Jay, do you build? Oh God. Bill collector is always calling me. I can assure you that this is not the bread calling. But yeah, I mean, I build other things occasionally that aren't Star Wars. Like, oh God, I have a what'd you call it? An In-N-Out burger mock on my channel. What else? What other mocks do I have on this channel that aren't specifically Star Wars? I mean, I did like the Lego Wrestling stop motion thing for a while. Technically, that's a mock. All right, see ya, builder of bricks 05. But yes, of course, it'll be minifig scale. Shout out to my boy Forever Lego Studios in the chat. What's going on, Hunter? Says, with all due respect, I'm more a Republic gang guy. It doesn't have to be Republic versus First Order. We can love them all, guys. Do they have a UCS AT-AT? Lego does not have one. I made one, though. You can check it out in the Vardos mock. Have you ever considered building a giant Death Star? You mean like just a big sphere, or actually like an interior, like scenes from inside the Death Star? Said your About on your YouTube channel still has stop motion wrestling in it. That's because I'm not quite ready to give up that era yet. At some point I would like to continue it. I'm just not entirely sure when. After this, your next mock should be something from Battlefront 2. I mean, my last mock was from Battlefront 2. You want me to do another Battlefront 2 mock? Cena says, I'm dunking on M&R in Chicago. Are you actually going to come to Chicago? I think you need to make a series of videos calling out Ryan, Cena. What's up, Josiah Weber? How many minifigs are there going to be? Honestly, it's going to get close to like 1,000. There are a lot of minifigs in this mock. Stopping by to say hello real quick. All right, what's up, Adorier? Good luck on the final studying. This is what I'm looking for, my precious. Jay, I would call them the Clone Boyos right now, but they're all partying on Coruscant. What's that club called? The Clone Club? Clone. What is it called? Listen, with all due respect, First Order is gang gang. Exactly. Don't get it twisted, y'all. First Order is the gang. Coke or Pepsi? I don't really drink soda, to be honest. I don't know where this cough is coming from. I think the club is like 79. Yeah, it's some number I remember. Shout out to the Clone Club. The Frog Gang? What is Frog Gang? I want everybody in the chat to rep your set. Which is to say, I want everybody in the chat to rep their gang. I started a religion at my school called Kermit Gang. Nice. Shout out to Kermit Gang. I just want a Gungan battle pack. I've already got a Jar Jar Binks and I'm about to flex. If we get some more generic packs, I'll go crazy, hit up M&R with all those texts. That was a mouthful. We worship Kermit the Frog. Bruh, I be in Clicky Gang, of course. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody in their gangs. Shout out to Isaiah. He says, I want me a Ayla fam gang. There we go. That is the ultimate gang. Now, I was coloring a frog at work the other day, and a friend of mine wrote Frog Gang above it while I wasn't looking. I want to know, why were you coloring a frog? What part of your job dictated that you color a frog? Yo, shout out to Ayla Sakura, though. She's my girlfriend. She just doesn't know it yet. Some guys want them a Leia. Nah, I want me a Elefam. I need to do a video challenge to see who can actually rap the part right after that of Cold Like Hoth. And my shit is so cold that it's covered in ice. I give it to a Tauntaun and it fell and died. I'm careful with how long I'll be recommending this point because my next video is the video points. I'm careful with how long I'll be recommending at this point because my next video is enough to less than 50 points. It's even hard for me to like recite. I'm careful with how long I'll be recommending at this point because my next video is enough to less than 50 points. I hear no words. I hear the God language. She's my girlfriend, but she doesn't know it yet. Cue up that scene of Anakin staring at Padme after she says, "Stop looking at me like that. It makes me uncomfortable." Gosh dang it, now they put coloring pages in our break room along with crayons. Wow. I didn't realize. Holy crap. Wow, I got gypped. Someone put a fake brick in my bricks, y'all. I bought these from Bricklink, and they sent me a fake. I don't know who sold that to me, but they're in big doo-doo this time. Have I seen Endgame yet? Yeah, I saw it opening night. Good film. Good film. Exactly. You know we like that real over here. We don't mess with that fake. I honestly might sue them. Want to press charges. Are any of you in the chat a lawyer? I need some boyo legal representation. I want everybody in lawyer gang to stand up right now. I'm an imaginary lawyer. Okay. Leppin gang, where you at? Leppin gang was. I don't even know where I put it. Maybe I threw it. I don't even know where the heck that brick is. Shout out to that boy Vonreg again. Vonreg is quickly making his way to the Boyo Lounge. No, Vonreg is only asking where Leppin gang is so we can see them. It's always good to know your enemies, guys. That's some Boyo wisdom for you. It says, nope, cybersecurity engineer. Oh, that's close enough. What I want you to do, I don't know, actually. What's up, Fives? Where you been, dude? Isaiah says, by the way, I applaud your efforts in collecting every minifig ever, but you cannot possibly do this if you do not have ultra rare Force Ghost figs. I wish they existed. No, I love Leppin. Good stuff. Wow. Vonreg, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. I've been in exile. You guys up for some pro-Last Jedi banter real quick? I promise it won't be too long. I just got to get it out there. How much money to get into the Boyo Lounge? It is $50. $50. 50 Dolores. Claude Building Productions. Claude is are you a Lego channel or do you build Claude Busters? You know what I'm done with Lego. I'm moving on to Leppin. It's way better. Leppin is pretty lit. They should change the name from Leppin to Litpin. Is that fair to say? All I build is Litpin. Don't you mean it costs 50 studs? Nah, man. I need something in more real. Studs are no good out here. Anyways, on to my pro-Last Jedi banter. So, Star Wars fans, oh, Luke is so lame. He just went and secluded himself from everyone. Didn't even show up to like help the resistance at the end of the film. He just used his Force Ghost trick. But also Jedi. Oh man, I love Obi-Wan and Yoda, even though at the height of the Jedi, they decided to both go into exile and basically just count on one of Vader's children getting the job done many years later. So, I don't know. When do you hope to have this finished by? The goal is by the end of the year. What's up, Liam Clancy? Oh, no. Yeah, what's up, Liam Clancy? What I meant to also say was Corey Baxter, what's up, Clean? How you slaying? I'm slaying just fine, my queen. Son, what do you want to be when you grow up? Son, I want to be a Lepin father. You are no son of mine. I found out yesterday a father named his kid Darth Vader, and the kid doesn't like Star Wars. That is very unfortunate. I only have 2 floors in my house. That moment when an engine only costs 500 cents. Apparently that was too much for the Jedi. And yeah, I did see how Lepin got rated. That was a great day. That was just the funniest thing ever. I would have loved to have been there when that happened.
Hello there.
Shout out to LA21 Lego Dude for subscribing. Thank you very much. He even got the hello there. I'm moving in 2 months. Hopefully none of my sets get broken. It's all good, man. Even if they do break, that's the beauty of Lego. You can rebuild them. I got parts coming in, Jay. Also a lot more figures coming. I'm going to the Lego store tomorrow to pick up some pad and sets. Awesome. Are you going to continue that mock, or are you still just playing? Shout out to Elrik Vonreg again with the $2 donation. Vonreg is feeling very generous today. I certainly appreciate it. He says, what are you currently working on? So I'm building up this. You can see this ice section. It basically is the border around the big speech platform area. So that's what I'm working on. Kind of like the 2K house. You should rename your house to the Boya House. Invite Ryan and Justin David Hall to live with you, because why not? That's the dream, for us to all get a clout house. And we can spend our time building mocks. I don't know. I mean, I love David, but I don't know if we could actually live together. I feel like it would just be non-stop arguments, because his favorite Star Wars movie is Revenge of the Sith, and I don't necessarily agree with that at all. Ryan said he wants to live alone. Ryan will live where I ask him to live. I got labs to write, so have fun. All right, see ya, Michael Lamb. And it's all good that it didn't, Ryan. We have plenty of time to spit bars. If the hello there comes up, it's only because I unsubbed and subbed so I could hear Obi greet me. Please don't do that. Will the border stay the same height, or will you raise it along with the terrain? So my general idea is basically this type of border is really only going to go. It'll probably go until the base, and then I'm thinking I'll just bring the base all the way out. Because if this is the cross section, the base would actually extend out of the border, if that makes sense. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my plan is for that. And all right, see ya, Sharpshooter 34. What's up, Jay? You're the best dude. Thank you. You guys are so pleasant. Shout out to Boyo Gang for being the most pleasant gang out there. Shout out to Film Pies for subscribing. What's going on, Enter? How you been? Jay, so it's Chicago. I'm going to be announcing my biggest mock yet. I'm letting LUG members know, and some people I can DM you on Instagram if you want to know. Trust me, you will like it. Oh, I'm guessing it's sequel related. Definitely send it to me. I'd love to see it. Where do you buy your minifigs? I get my minifigs from Bricklink for the most part. Welcome back, Cloud Building Productions. What is Boyo Lounge? Boyo Lounge is, if you want to see exactly what it is, check out the Long Bardos video I did. It's like right in the middle of the video. And essentially, it's going to be my fan appreciation room of the mock. And for people who donate above a certain amount, they get into that room, and you'll be highlighted in the final video. It is a surprise room, so it's something that you guys won't see until the mock is 100% complete. So, yeah, that's that. I was expecting someone with your reputation to be a little older. Cloud Building Productions. You're shorter than I imagined. What a burn. Can we get some fire emojis in the chat for that burn that Anakin gave Grievous? Angie says, gotta go, Jay. You're such a great guy. Never fail to keep us interested in your videos. Thank you. You guys are going to make me blush. Have build withdrawal symptoms because Lego Room is currently half finished reorganizing. What exactly are you... I mean, I saw that you were reorganizing, but how exactly are you reorganizing it? I was also disappointed in the lack of mocks you have on your shelves. How much money is it to get into the Boyle Lounge? It's $50. Grievous was choked after that burn. Literally choked. Aren't you a little fat to be a stormtrooper? Well, then save yourself. I'm not really a Family Guy fan, but I love their Star Wars episodes. Those are quite great. They're great. They should totally have put like a CGI Tony the Tiger in the prequels. Maybe it was even one of the Senate aliens. What's up, Alf? My boy, Alfred. General Grievous. Stop that monster and end this war. Replaced the floor from carpet to flat boards and got new tables. Now it's mostly putting all back together containers back. Okay, I got you. I'm surprised you preferred the flat boards to carpet. I prefer carpet in my room where I'm building Lego because the pieces don't bounce as far, if that makes sense. Hey, shout out to Vonreg again. Oh my god. He says, I think I'm close or I'm already in. I don't know. LOL gang gang. I just bought the first order specialist pack and I like the execution troopers. I would love to like actually talk to Vonreg. I would just love to hear the way you talk. All your like messages are so memey. I love it. But dude, thank you so much. Honestly, I mean, I put where you are or where you've gotten to up to this point in the description. If you've donated over $31 today, then you're in. I don't know though. I haven't kept count. I'm not that smart. Favorite YouTuber? Everyone always asks me that. It's so hard to say. Like, I mean, anyone who's doing a Lego Star Wars build series on YouTube is my favorite. Is that fair to say? That's all I want to see. Jay, first Lego set. First Lego, I mean, I don't remember what the first Lego set I had was, but the first Lego Star Wars set I got was probably Anakin's Pod Racer. And Inthert says, I get that, though I like rolling around on a desk chair from table to shelves, which was tricky. Okay, I got you. I'm curious then, like, I guess, what are you building that causes you to need to, like, roll your chair from table to table in one, like, build session? Least favorite Lego series? You mean, like, theme? I really don't care for Chima. I thought Chima was pretty awful. Nexo Knights I thought was awful as well. I really don't care for Nunjaku either, to be fair. My first Star Wars set was the Freako Speeder. Where my Freako gang at? I don't know, for me, carpet is better because, like, on hardwood floors, you drop a Lego piece and it can roll, like, forever away. With carpet, it's more likely to stay in one general area. Would you consider doing a fan mail series? I would totally send some letters. I mean, I want to. I haven't gotten around to, like, making a PO box, but one day, I promise. BMK says Jay should pick up that TIE Fighter and fly it around. Now I'm making the sounds. I know you guys love my TIE Fighter sounds. Who in the chat does a great TIE Fighter sound? I'd love to know. What's up, Edge of Bricks? He says, did you see in the Stranger Things set? How do you like it? I did see it, and I like it a lot. A very good looking set. Where is the room tour? I was promised it. I promise it will be coming soon. Trust me. True, but don't tell me you haven't just got another part out when that happens. I mean, yeah, all the time. Absolutely. Absolutely. All the time, dude. I swear, after like most of my long build sessions, there's just a big pile of parts under me, and then I'll just clean them all up at once. What's up, Tay-Tay Films? Are you looking forward to the Game of Thrones director's Star Wars movies? I mean, I never watched Game of Thrones. I guess I'm looking forward to the films, though. New Star Wars films, why not? Jay hit the wall. I feel like I can't just do it now. Like, I've held off on doing it for so long. If I just did it now, I don't know. What's up, flight red-tailed shark airplane Corey Cap? Can you please explain to me how you came up with that name? I remember you from the other stream. How could forget a name like that? Frank's Fantastic Breeze says, I heard the song Murder My Mind in public, or you were with friends, I guess, and you were singing my version. That's good. The Boyo version is the best version. What's up, Samuel Bateman? But I didn't like your TIE Fighter sounds. I mean, that's fair. Plus, I found my carpet just collects/spreads so much dust, though that probably has something to do with the trains that go by my house. I feel when it comes to carpet, like if you're concerned about dust, like it's actually better to have carpet because it'll settle in the carpet. If you have it like hardwood floors, more of it is likely to be in the air. So if you're concerned about that, then I don't know. But shout out to Vonreg again. Oh my god. He says, okay, I just checked my email. This should be $30. All right. Well, I think you're at 19 now, so one more dollar will get you into the Boyo Lounge. But I mean, thank you so much, man. When a Lego piece falls in carpet, it goes to another dimension, never to be seen again. Little late for that, man. Yeah, that's like as I was saying it, I was kind of like, never mind, because he already is invested in the hardwood floors. There you go. There's the $1 from Vonreg. Vonreg is officially in the Boyo Lounge. We got 2 Boyos in the Boyo Lounge. We clip a YouTube video to discuss Star Wars, and they're talking about carpet. I mean, carpet's cool. Technically we were talking about Lego, like carpet and Lego rooms. Shout out to Dr. Phil with the 99-cent donation. Dr. Phil. Welcome back, flight red-tailed shark airplane Corey Catfish. Samuel Bateman says, I lost my favorite custom minifig. I found it 3 years later under my bed. Wow. Do they have carpet in Star Wars? That's a great question. I would assume, I don't think we've seen it. I guess not. I don't think so. I feel like, I don't know, take a close look at, I guess, Padme's bedroom in the prequels. I guess she really only has it episodes 2 and 3. I know, like, the floor has a very intricate design, but I don't think it's carpet. Maybe, like, the apartment, like, the living room area. I don't think that's carpet, but maybe there's carpet in her bedroom. I don't know. Someone check. All right, see ya, Isaiah. Thanks for coming through, man. Creed says, had a lot of personal stuff going on lately. Glad to make it finally to a stream. Well, I'm glad to see you, man. Hope you got all your personal stuff sorted. I was wondering where you were. It's been a while since I've seen you. Wookiee shag carpet. That's sadistic. When you buy bricks off Bricklink, are you just buying bulk quantities of random bricks, or are you buying what... I only buy what I need. I only buy what I need. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, I need, if I have some general extra parts that I need, I'll basically just go to any random store. Like, I'll just find the cheapest, and then I'll check around for parts and colors that I typically use, and I'll just throw them in my cart. But typically, I'm only buying exactly what I need because I'm importing some sort of parts list. Jay, 26 days to Chicago. What day are you getting there? We're getting there Friday morning and leaving Sunday night. Sunday. I killed a Wookiee and made him... Jeez, guys. Do you have a promo code for Firestar Toys? Yes, I do. Use code RichBoy10 for that 10% discount. You know I got you, bro. Your boy, Rich Boy. Walking carpet. Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I would probably just attribute that to the writer didn't really consider whether or not there's actually carpet. The same thing as like, oh, without our show generator, we're sitting ducks, even though ducks probably don't exist in Star Wars. And yeah, DMK, I'm down for the interview. Chilling with a Capri Sun. Bro, Capri Suns are everything. You think they have Capri Suns in Star Wars? How do you feel about the rockets being knocked out? I'm still not over that. I'm still sad. Do you have any videos on how you sort your Lego? I unfortunately do not. No, I do not. Anthony, since you teased it, am I yet allowed to talk openly about your secret project? Capri Twin Sons. All right. That's the funniest thing I've seen today. This is why I love Fridays. Another happy Friday. Zip those lips. Jeez. I've never heard you so aggressive. Are you turning to the dark side? Though maybe in vague terms. All I'll say in vague terms is it looks very nice. That's all I'll say. But you already knew that. Screw it, I'm just going to tell everyone. Everyone, Enthard's building a 501st battle pack. Wait, wasn't there a Trandoshan ship that had Fervent Alien on the wall that was basically a rug? I don't recall. I understand how people can build Legos in complete silence. I just can't do that. You mean like me right now? I mean, I have you guys to talk to. If I wasn't out streaming, I wouldn't be in complete silence. I'd probably put something on to watch. Darth Jar Jar Supreme. I've always had this, like, I don't know. Never mind. That's true. A Wampa, I believe. Interesting. Wampas always get the short end of the stick. Hey, Jay, if you don't mind, I want to see your live reaction to my mock on stream. I send it right now. Say your reaction without spoiling my... Okay, sure, that's fine. All right, see ya, Frakes Fantastic Bricks. Dr. Phil says, not to be dumb, but I'm actually really glad to see you live streaming. I've been super isolated lately and been hard not having much interaction. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm glad I can be of some service to you. I like to imagine these streams are, in some ways, an escape for all of us. It's a place where we can celebrate our love for Lego Star Wars, given that typically in public spaces, that's not something that we can typically do. Also, not to undercut the hashtag real emotion, but do you think there's Gungan leather? Oh, there has to be. Yo, so here, let's all talk. Let's have some boyo. let's have some boyo fun here. Let's talk about if we were in Star Wars, what would our speeders look like? I would imagine mine would. I would like for my speeder to be the style of what's it called? Probably the style of Zamazel's speeder. I just like the way it looks. It looks sleek. Like if there were like a sports car speeder, maybe that would be it. I would have it totally blacked out. And on the inside, I would have Gungan leather seats. How about that? How about that? All right, DMK just sent me some stuff, so I'm going to live react to it. All right, DMK, you ready? I really hope it's good, because if I don't react, I'm going to feel bad. Okay, that's pretty dope. All right, I'm actually very excited for that. Have you heard me talk about that? I've always said, like, I would love to build that. So that's actually pretty sweet that you're building that. How big is it going to be? You're going to need so much space for it. What's up, David Buchholz? Buchholz? I don't know. I don't know. But like the Imperial one with red and Rebel sign on it. There could be a relic of Jar Jar in Carbonite on Cloud City. All right, everybody, let me know your speeders. This is your first episode of Pimp My Speeder. We're going to talk about what would our speeders look like. He says, I like the ones that are more like motorcycles. So you'd have like a speeder bike. That's dope. If I had a speeder bike, I'd have a Harley or like a chopper like Dirge had in the Clone Wars. Vroom, vroom. I'm not seeing enough speeder talk in the chat, guys. That was my speeder. Oh, okay, I got you. My speeder is just like Ezra's, but black with Twitch's head on the front. It says an M68 because they're nice, right? What's an M68? Got that shiny chrome just to flex. It's all about chrome. Like a drop ship with the wings and fast. Han speeder. Okay, I got you. I'm down with that. Han had a pretty stylish speeder. Twitch from KOTOR. Honestly, don't remember who's Twitch. I'm a bit behind, but I heard you talk about it, and the size is probably 4x4 gray base plate. Oh, wow. Okay, sweet. That sounds awesome. Mahan says, okay, so it's like 10 p.m. I need some sleep. I've been staying up until 11 p.m. because BFAB is streaming. Hopefully I'll be less tired tomorrow. See, you had a fun time. I'm glad to hear that, man. Take care. B-Brick says, I would have a bark speeder painted with blue stripes and Gungan leather on my seat. There we go. Shout out to that Gungan leather. My school's having a break for every student that it has 15. That is 15, so students can feel how it is having a job, and I'm thinking about working at a Lego store. Should I do it like the boy himself? Yes. Do it. Do it. Can you shows a one of your sets that you did the worst sticker job on? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but what I will say is when I first built my new Tanto 4, I put the like cockpit stickers on upside down. I have since fixed them, but that would probably be the one that I really just screwed up the worst. That's a good question though. Tidyphone Productions, hey, what's going on, man? It has been a while. How you been? Do you like brickheads, or do you think they're more cash grabby? I mean, I wouldn't really ever describe anything as a cash grab. I mean, everything's for money. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. I understand. They're a business. They have to make money. But I don't care for brickheads. I have no use for them. I'm getting a scam call. Should I spoil Endgame? I think that ship has sailed. Instead, just waste their time. The best time to deal with scammers is to waste their time. Anytime, I love getting scam calls because all I do is pretend like I'm going along with it, but like not actually. That way, like they're sitting on the phone thinking they're actually about to get whatever they want from me, and they just never do. Is it hard to build a mock? I wouldn't necessarily say it's hard to build a mock in general, but maybe it's hard to build a good mock. It's hard to build a detailed mock. I equate that to asking, like, is it hard to make music? Like, anyone in this day and age can make music, you know, but to make good music, that's an entirely different story. Wedge Antilles or Captain Antilles? That's a hard question. I feel inclined to say Wedge because, you know, he lived through both. He was one of the few people who actually made it through the entire original trilogy. On the other hand, Dennis Lawson got too big-headed to come back to Star Wars for the new trilogy. So, I don't know. How do you feel about it? Hardest set you've built? I don't really describe, like, I don't think building Lego sets is hard. Like, as someone who works at the Lego store, people are always asking, like, oh, is this set challenging? And even to this day, I still have trouble answering that question, because, I mean, it's really just, like, are you able to look at the picture and follow what the picture says? If you have issues with that, then, you know, any set could be hard, but otherwise, it's more about patience. Like, will this set take me a long time to build? Yeah, it's a big set, sure, why not? Jay, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. What's up, Commander Pawns? Nav says, what do you think of the episode 9 trailer? I loved it until the end. I have no interest in seeing Palpatine in Star Wars again. Hardest sets to build are the ones that come with ropes in them. Here, I'll put it this way. The hardest set to build is anything that comes with, like, treads, where you have to link up, like, 100 of them. Because, one, they're annoying to connect, and two, you never know if, like, the set came with the exact amount. Playing Battlefront 2 on Camino. Nice. One of my dreams has always been to basically do, like, feature-length Star Wars, like a feature-length Star Wars brick film where I basically redo the prequels, kind of with my own story, still adhering to everything around them, but I would just change the story of the prequels, and I would do it as brick films, because I like brick films. And I've always thought, like, it would have been cool if Episode 2, similar to the way Episode 5 opens up with Hoth, I think it'd be cool for Episode 2 to open up with, like, a battle on Camino. And what would essentially happen is, like, the opposition would get a victory there, and basically the cloning facility would just be decimated. Like, at that point, they're no longer able to make more clones. So then it kind of raises the stakes of, like, oh, this is all we have left. Like, this is the only army the Republic has. So you don't get the feeling that, like, oh, the Republic just has infinite resources. I feel that kind of, I don't know, it makes the stakes at any given moment feel, I don't know. It kind of lowers the stakes when it seems like, you know, you have these two big endless armies. So I like the imminent threat of, like, you know, any soldier we lose is a big deal because we have a finite amount at this point. So I don't know. I think that'd be fun. Nightbot, what are you doing? Why did his messages get deleted? Hold on, I'm reading your message right now. He says, LOL, have you seen the Mr. Plinkett reviews? There's some humor in there that's like blech, but otherwise great analysis. Oh, I love the Plinkett reviews. Those are wonderful. Love them, love them, love them. Brian Riff says, I've been working on prequel rewrite myself. Do you think Anakin should have joined Palpatine at the end of Clones instead of the middle of Revenge like I do? Yeah, I think Yeah, I generally agree with that. Even if it happens at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, I'm fine with that. I think we just need more time to see Vader be Vader in those kind of opening moments. Because I mean, Episode 3 would have kind of led you to believe like, oh, you're going to see Darth Vader in the suit doing stuff because Darth Vader was on all like the promotional material in the armor, but we never saw any of that. The most action we saw him have was no. So yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. We needed to see more of Vader and Palpatine basically setting the stage for the Empire. Which set is better, Tantive 4 or Ewok Village? I honestly probably go with Ewok Village. I like Ewok Village a lot, actually. See him portrayed as a bad guy, but a bad guy who is still not set in his ways. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make this like a prequel bashing stream, but I feel like there were just a lot of missed opportunities. A lot of them in relevance to Vader in those films. Like there could be a conflict with Obi-Wan trying to get him back. I would just like to have a better reason as to why the Jedi, decided to go in hiding. Like that always bothered me, even as a kid with the prequels. Like after Yoda just kind of lost to Palpatine, he's just like, oh, I gotta go into hiding now. I mean, like, why? Why do you have to go into exile? Like, in the last movie, Count Dooku got away, but he didn't go into exile then. I don't know. That was just always so puzzling to me. And I get why they did it. Obviously, they needed a reason for Yoda to go into hiding, but I don't know. It was just, I didn't agree with that. Hi, Jay. This is the first time I'm joining one of your streams. Mock looks great, by the way. Thank you, Fluffy Tiger. Enthard says, I could have done without General Grievous in 3. Dooku was enough to carry the story without throwing in another reason to end the war. I agree. I mean, honestly, I like Dooku. I'm fine with Dooku. I think that he could have been involved a little bit more differently, because I feel like Dooku in itself is a rather weak villain. I think if it were up to me, I would probably just have Darth Maul be the big bad guy in the prequels, and then it would all kind of culminate with maybe him fighting Anakin, and then that's how Anakin secures his spot as Vader. Like maybe that's Palpatine's last test for him. Like he knows he has a lot of potential, and it's not really clear to Maul what his intentions with Anakin are, but eventually it comes down like, this is your final test. Like Maul is very skilled, obviously. Like you've shown you're powerful with the Force. Now I want to see you tap into that and really like show me you're worthy of being my apprentice. And then, I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge drawn out fight, but I would like for them to fight there, and then Darth Maul dies, and we don't have to see him pop up and everything else for 30 years down the line. But yeah, what's up, N-Bomb 247? How you been, man? Did we ever figure out what species Yoda is? No, I don't think so. So every time I think about what could have been, I get so happy creating stories in my mind. I love your Camino idea. I mean, it's really fun. I mean, people know I don't love the prequels, but I think there's tons of potential there with the stage that's set. There's tons of potential there. Anthony says, I think given the political story they went with, Dooku was the more relevant villain, even if he wasn't as flashy as Maul. I mean, I agree, but I don't think Dooku needs to be the main bad guy, because he really isn't that bad of a guy, like obviously he's leading the Separatists, but the Separatists in themselves, as they're presented in those films, they aren't really like bad people. Like, I mean, they're bad. They're the opposition, obviously, but they just aren't presented as being super threatening, in my opinion. Like, Dooku obviously has a point to what he's saying. The Republic has gotten too big, and they're kind of tired of it. And I mean, there's plenty of good planets or people that are good natured that are partnered with the Separatists. So I don't know. DMK says it's crazy to think that the Death Star was planned in episode 2. Yeah, I always thought that was weird too. Like, I don't. That was unnecessary in my opinion. Like, apparently it was supposed to be like a separatist thing at first, which begs the question, like, why did they need a super weapon? Like, they were just trying, like, I don't know, it feels like the separatists who are against big government, they're against, like, having one overarching, like, republic, right? They're kind of trying to separate themselves from that. Like, why doesn't it kind of go against their philosophy to be like, oh, let's have this giant super weapon and we can basically just become the new republic? Sure, I think they were going for Palpatine manipulating both sides with the Jedi caught in the middle for peacekeeping ways. In the middle of their peacekeeping ways. Didn't quite pull it off, though. That seems to be the case. I don't know, you guys, what do you think about the idea of the Separatists kind of being the first to come up with the idea of the Death Star? It seems to go against their general philosophy. Shout out to Tiny Film Productions for the 5-pound donation. He says, heard George Lucas decided to make Venture's character for main villain of prequels. However, Chris Lee said he was interested, so he canceled her. I did not know that. Throwing him in as Vader at the beginning of ROTS or AOTC would feel rushed. I mean, that's why you build up to it. That's why I think, honestly, if it were up to me, I wouldn't have episode 1 introduce Anakin Skywalker. Like, they wouldn't find him. He would already be a Jedi by that point. I mean, because, I don't know, to me, it really doesn't matter where he came from. Like, I didn't need to, it more so matters where he ends up and why he ends up there. And, I mean, maybe you can tell his past, like, he can have certain things or experiences where it kind of lets you into, like, kind of how his upbringing was. But I don't think it was necessary to, like, literally see him from where he starts off and then have to, like, fill in all the blanks between then and to the end of the film. Because episode 1, like, it kind of feels like a wasted film in that, okay, we meet Anakin as a kid, but, I mean, by episode 2, he's almost a completely different person. So, like, why not just start there, you know? Like, I don't know. They could have just told us that they found him as a slave, and that would have been sufficient. Like, I don't think we needed to see that on screen. Why do you think characters with limited screen time, Maul and Boba Fett, are so popular? I mean, they look cool. That's literally it. The same reason AT-ATs are so popular, because they look cool. That's literally it. Look behind you, there's a pack of bags. There is a pack of bags. I think it makes sense. It was a highly secretive plan created purely to wind up serving the Emperor. Right, but, like, why would they get involved in that? Like, what motivation would the Separatists have to want the Death Star? Like, was their end goal to form a new republic, essentially? Like, at the end of episode 3, Newt Gunray is like, Palpatine promised us peace. I don't think having a giant super weapon equates to peace. I think the Death Star, it just didn't have to fit in. It didn't have to be there. Like, the Death Star could have purely have been just an Imperial thing. We didn't need to see it at the end of episode 3. Tiny Film Production says, Ventress breaks the rule of 2 mainly because George Lucas liked the character he created and decided she had to be a part. It doesn't bother me because Vader had Inquisitors. I disagree with the idea of Sith having Inquisitors given the rule of 2. I mean, they can have, like, henchmen, whatever, that's fine, but I don't know. The Inquisitors are still basically Sith, so I don't know. It seems to create more issues than it's worth, in my opinion, Dr. Phil says, there's also a huge divide between the corporate and political parts of the CIS. Brian Riff says, Anakin's different stages of life always felt disconnected. I can't link them all as the same guy in my mind. Needed better writing to actually make you believe the transition. I agree. Like, it's weird to think that Jake Lloyd is Hayden Christensen is James Earl Jones, you know? Like, they're all just so disjointed. Can you please do a tutorial for the First Order flags? Because I love the design. I have an LDD file. If you're interested in it, I'll send it to you. Dr. Phil says, here's to take lightsabers should be way less common. Yeah, the prequels just went way overboard with lightsabers. Don't get me wrong, lightsaber fights are cool, but they just seem more meaningful in the original trilogy and even the sequels. Like, they don't just pull them out every 5 seconds, you know? It was like whenever a Jedi pulled out his lightsaber, like that meant something. Whereas in the prequels, Jedi hear something suspicious, lightsaber, what was that? It's, I don't know, like Sidious and Yoda literally should not have had them. Oh, I totally agree with you there. The fact that Sidious had a lightsaber is just so goofy. Like, look at the way he talks about lightsabers in the original trilogy. He's like, there, take your Jedi weapon. Like, why would he talk about lightsabers that way? But then, like, a few years earlier, he apparently had 2 of them that he was hiding. It's just so, and then why would he, I don't know. It just, the Emperor doesn't need a lightsaber. And also, it just looks goofy. Like, all the combat scenes of the Emperor just look so, they look so awful. Seeing freaking Ian McDiarmid, it was just, at that, I would have preferred if they had tried that and just be like, nah, this isn't going to work. And just have him electrocute them. Because why would he need to use a lightsaber? He's the Emperor. When episode 3 came out, my favorite actor by the name Jared Paddle. Whoa, what? Who's that? Corey Baxter says, I don't think all the Separatist leaders knew about the Death Star plans. I feel like Palpatine was secretly using the budget of the CIS to build it. I mean, the Geonosians knew about it. I agree. I mean, maybe they didn't all know about it. It just doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really make sense. Tiny Foam says, yeah, I agree with you. It just eases my mind that something I didn't get growing up on the prequel/Clone Wars and appeared in the original trilogy with Inquisitors. It's more consistent than anything, but I agree the Sith shouldn't have apprentices. It makes no sense how even the lightsabers didn't call out like the ones Ahsoka has. That's like the corporate side, though, which is all we get in the movie. Well, I mean, the movie is what, I mean, you have to go off of what you see, right? Like, I don't know. Domino Paradox says, I think the Separatist Council knew, but not to the full extent of things. I mean, I definitely doubt it was, like, common knowledge to everyone involved with the Separatists. Okay, apparently he's an actor in your favorite non-Star Wars show, Supernatural. I watched, which one is he? I've watched Supernatural. Wait, so are you going to be at Brickwell, Chicago? Yes, I will. I'll be there. It's prequel/sequel discussion panel at Brickworld. That sounds lovely. If there's one thing I want to do as a Lego Star Wars YouTuber is to change the, like, I don't know, just the general sentiment around how we feel about Star Wars debates. I think we need to encourage Star Wars debates. They're good. Star Wars debates are a good thing. This isn't oh, I don't like you because your opinion's different than mine. It's, oh, we all love Star Wars. Like, let's talk about it. Let's, like, we should be able to talk about Star Wars without it being an issue. And we should be able to disagree on Star Wars without it being an issue. Enthard says, do you think the new books set before 9 will be the equivalent to Bloodline in terms of semi-required reading? I think it'd be nice, considering we couldn't really get that for 8 due to the lack of a time gap. It would be cool to have kind of a stage setter the same way that Bloodline was. I would appreciate that. Tiny Foam says, TBH, we don't know much about the Geonosians' part in the Death Star. In comics and Rebels, though the Geonosians are wiped out to avoid them leaking information on the super weapon. I mean, it seemed to me like they knew they knew a lot about it. What book is it where they talk about that? Is it Catalyst, where like Poggle the Lesser is like still around, and they talk about the Death Star? I don't remember exactly what happens, but like Poggle's still hanging around. We know a lot about it from Catalyst. Yeah, that's what I thought. I gotta give that book a reread. I kind of ended up having to rush through it because I needed to finish it before I watched Rogue One. Like, I was literally in the theater, like, listening to the end of the book right before the movie started. Lev Dinio 10 says, personally, I really love the prequels, but I agree there are some things that aren't great, but that's the thing with most, if not all, movies. That's true. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I don't think we should be discouraged from talking about them, though. Are you going to try to go to Galaxy's Edge? Yes, I would love to. I would love to go to Galaxy's Edge. I think it would have been cool if Celebration was back in Orlando next year to kind of coincide with it. You know, like encourage people, you know, like go to Celebration and maybe take a day to go to Galaxy's Edge. But I guess it's in Anaheim too, but I don't know. Do we know any of you who are well-read on Galaxy's Edge? I imagine it's a lot more extensive at Disney World than Disneyland, right? And third says, I can see how some would find Catalyst dull, but it's just interesting to me. I thought Catalyst was wonderful. It's a lot of like technical talk and a lot of logistical talk, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. Dr. Phil says, if you want to grab drinks or whatever at the Brick World, I'd know I'd be down. I mean, yeah, it's fine. You don't necessarily have to go to a bar if you're not old enough to get in. Fluffy Tiger says, I'm in the UK, but I'd love to watch Star Wars Resistance. Do you have any idea how I can watch them? I watched it used through my cable provider on watchdisney.com, so that's what I did. Enthred says, I think the plan is to build 2 identical parks now. Oh, is it? If that's the case, then I don't know if I end up going to Celebration Anaheim. How close is Anaheim? Yeah, it's right there. That's where Disneyland is, I believe. Yeah. You can go check out Galaxy's Edge. Enthred, can you come down for Star Wars Celebration Anaheim? Wish I had time to go see you at a convention, but I'm working doing some scouts. Are you trying to become an Eagle Scout? Apparently Resistance is on Hulu. What do you do for tags on your videos? That's one thing as a YouTuber I still haven't really figured out. Like I keep it general though. I've been told keeping tags general will actually help you more than it'll hurt you. The gang is all here. Yes, they are. I feel like we're having some good Star Wars talk right now. This is once again me trying to purport the notion that it's okay for us to have Star Wars debates. Don't cower away from Star Wars debates, guys. It's a good thing. As long as we can be civil people, that's all that matters. Enthred says, think I'd rather go to a big Lego convention you fellas enjoy. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Then can you come to a big Lego convention in the US so I can meet you? I want you to come to a US Lego convention so I can meet you. And I'll even bring my mom so she can meet you. And I can be like, this is that builder I was telling you about. The parks will be the same size, but the entrances will be different. Plus, they're both open this year. Okay. If they're both the same size, then yeah. We can check it out during Celebration Anaheim. Geonosians were apparently the main workforce of the Death Star, beginning when Director Krennic approached Poggle before they were wiped out. Makes sense. Seems consistent with what I've heard. You should stream all the conventions. I did last year at Brickworld. We did a stream. It wasn't really like in the hall, but we did one in the hotel. B Bricks Studio says, I hate it makes in the prequels. In the Clone Wars, he was cool and wasn't a complete D word to Anakin. He's the reason the Ryloth arc is one of my favorite arcs in the Clone Wars. I mean, I feel like that's generally the case. I don't know what it was about George Lucas. I mean, he did the same thing with Obi-Wan, I feel. Just made him a total jerk. Like, Obi-Wan didn't have to be a jerk. George Lucas just decided to make him that way for some reason. Am I going to buy Jedi Fallen Order? Yes, absolutely. Do I collect brickheads? No, I do not. What's up, little bricks? Like, I understand maybe George's mindset behind trying to make the Jedi, like, making the Jedi very stern and, like, kind of antagonistic to Anakin. But I feel like it just ended up making them less likable. Like, Obi-Wan in Episode 2 is such a jerk to Anakin. I don't understand. Jay, did you sympathize with the Separatists? In the movies? Absolutely not. Will there be a heart-shaped bed? I'm pretty sure I told you there would be. What console do I play on? I have a PS4. We do have LEGO conventions here in the UK. Should try to come to one. They're a good time. I feel like, though, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I could. But I would rather you come here because that's easier for me. As selfish as that sounds. Anthony, if I came to a UK convention, would you house me? Just give me a blanket and I'll sleep in the middle of your Lego room. On the floor. Oh, actually, there's hard floors now, so I don't know if I'd want to do that. Should have kept the carpet. I would, dude, if you still had carpet, I would totally come down. I have this episode 8 movie book, and in there it says Hux betrays the First Order. How exactly? I feel the Jedi shouldn't have led the war. They weren't good leaders, and that's one of the reasons the clones executed Order 66 so swiftly. There were many casualties under the true command of the Jedi. I mean, yeah, it didn't really make sense to me why the Jedi would be generals. Like, Jedis are peacekeepers. Jedi, I mean, the Jedi uses their power for defense. Like, why would those guys be generals? I mean, they could have fought alongside, but to have them, like, leading the armies, I thought I don't know, that didn't really make a ton of sense to me. Jay, I'm in high school and don't have a regular job. Do you suggest I spend my money on a convention or SAT? I'd say, if that's the decision you have to make right now, I'd say choose a convention. Convention experience is unlike anything else. You can always get sets, but conventions, that's something I think you want to experience sooner rather than later. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers, cuts off head. Exactly. Says, like, there's this part where they explain General Hux. And at the end, it says he has to keep his traitor a secret from his masters. What exactly did he do? Holy crap. Little Bricks, what convention are you near? But there were good Jedi generals like Anakin and Mace. I mean, you can write the story that way. I'm just saying, as a whole, it doesn't make sense for the Jedi to have been generals, if that's fair. Like, sure, after the fact, like, you can write them and you can make them good generals. That's not impossible. I'm just saying, like, the Jedi philosophy, it doesn't make sense for those guys to be generals. What are you working on, Mr. J? I'm working on this platform right here. I just got it built up. So now I'm about to tile it off. It would have been nice if the clones were actually made to be of some importance in the films other than Order 66. Josiah Weber says, but the piece was broken, so the Jedi has to defend it by leading the clones. Okay, that's a misconception. The Jedi didn't have to lead the clones. Like, I agree, like, they can fight alongside them. That's not a problem. But to lead the armies, I just think that doesn't make sense. They don't have to be involved. They don't have to, like, lead the armies to be involved. If the Jedi were generals, over time, public trust would lower and more would grow to hate them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just, yeah. And that was, that was used against them. Do you think LEGO will actually make a 501st Battle Pack? Probably not. Unfortunately not, my friend. Don't the Jedi break the peace in the first place? Not really. Well, I mean, if you consider them bringing the clones to Geonosis, then sure, maybe. Nah, I mean, nah, not really. At some point, you should save some money, buy lots of Lego, and completely brick your car, then plate it. What? What do you mean by brick my car? It makes sense the Jedi led clones as they are always on the front line. But you're using evidence. You're using an example of them already leading the clones to show why they should lead the clones. Like, you're saying, like, oh, the Jedi were good generals. We saw them be good generals. That's why they should lead the clones. Well, of course, like, you can write them and make them good generals, though. I'm saying if we ignore that they ended up being generals anyways, and we look at the Jedi as a whole, like in Episode 1, and their just general philosophy towards things, and even in the original trilogy, like, they're not the type of people who would be generals. Put bricks on the car to make the body covered in Lego. Oh, okay. I think you guys are misunderstanding me. Like, I don't mind the Jedi being involved. Like, I think they should have been. Like, that makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. But to have them leading the armies, I just think that goes against what the Jedi might believe in. Who do you dislike the most in the Star Wars universe? For me, it's Snoke. How do you dislike Snoke that much? I mean, he's kind of a jerk. He's actually a huge jerk, but I love him for it. The character I dislike the most in all of Star Wars is Episode 2, Obi-Wan. He is such a jerk to Anakin for no reason. I don't blame Anakin. Isn't the Chancellor controlling them all? Well, I mean, that's the excuse, right? Like, Palpatine, like, the Chancellor is clouding their vision. I just thought that was goofy as well. The idea that, like, somehow the Emperor is making them all more dumb. Which, of course, begs the question, like, if the Chancellor is, like, clouding things or even contributing to their diminished use of the Force, whatever that even means. Like, why is that not also the case in the original trilogy? Like, Palpatine's still around. Maybe he stopped because he thought, well, he didn't know, well, he knows that Luke is still around. I don't know, I don't, that was just a really weird plot point. The idea that, like, Palpatine has clouded their vision somehow. Thomas says, yeah, it was a convenient excuse for why the Jedi can't sense him during their many meetings. To me, it just makes the Jedi look dumb. That's probably my biggest problem with all of this. It seems like the prequels kind of went out of their way to just make the Jedi look so incompetent and dumb. Well, we don't even see the Emperor in Episode 4, so we don't know for sure he couldn't sense him. What is your favorite Lego Star Wars set? The UCS Star Destroyer. The original one. Favorite clone trooper from the Clone Wars? Mine is Wolf. He was a good leader and cared for his men, and he got stuff done. Wolf is a traitor. No, Wolf's not a traitor. That was Fox. Yeah, Wolf's pretty cool. I'm down with the Wolf pack. I gotta go with Rex, though. Rex is lovable, in my opinion. Palpatine used the dark side of the Force to disguise his Force scent. How goofy does that sound? Xavier says the Jedi were incompetent and they sat around on Coruscant and barely did anything. I agree. My favorite... I love how at the end of Episode 1, after Qui-Gon died, the Jedi just all conveniently arrived for the celebration on their shuttle. Like, where were you an hour ago? Just sitting around somewhere? Like, why did they send like 10 Jedi to fight Maul? It's said they sent 2 and one of them got killed. It's so goofy. But oh, they can all show up for the party though. I always thought that was so silly. How does someone get his legs sliced off but survives it when someone gets... Wait, what? How does someone get their legs sliced off but survives it when someone gets sad and dies? I don't understand what you're trying to say. Explain it. Oh, and not when someone gets... Oh, yeah. I mean, I have my own problems with that. The idea that the idea that Padme was such an awful mother that she didn't feel it was worth living after she had her newborn children. Why does no one else find that? I mean, why don't many other people find that problematic? I feel like that really goes against her character. Like, sure, she was sad, but like, to say that she lost the will to live, like right after she had kids. How do you think Luke would feel if he found out his mother lost the will to live after he was born? I don't know. Tiny Film says, I think Snoke isn't the best villain, but I do like the sense of ambiguity surrounding him, and I also like how I genuinely felt Rey was in peril in his presence. I like Snoke. I thought he served his point very well. I thought he was a good character. Like, he just exudes overconfidence, which I feel it's just quintessential Sith, right? Or quintessential dark side. And that ultimately is his demise. There's a theory Palpatine transferred Anakin's pain to Padme so that Anakin could live. That is so goofy. Apparently Palpatine can transfer pain now. I feel inclined to say that that's not true. Palpatine used the dark side of the Force to save Vader's life by killing Padme. That's my 2 cents. What? Why? How? I mean, even if that's like a theory, I feel like that's just making an excuse for poor writing, right? Like, that clearly wasn't the implication from the film. Like, that's not what George was trying to get across. So, like, you can kind of make sense of it in your head, but, like, from a perspective of what the movie is trying to convey, like, it's a bad sign. It's a bad look when Padme doesn't feel the need to live after she has her children. And exactly, yeah, how does he find Padme across the galaxy? I'd like to think that the Emperor's powers have some sort of range. Like, sure, he's very powerful. That is very clear. But to think that he can somehow transfer pain to someone else for them to die... If that's the case, why would he not do that to the other 2 Jedi that are still hanging around? I mean, he knew Yoda survived. Jay, a Lego store is open near where I live, and I could finally build or try to build a mock. Any suggestions? I'd say go in, check out the pad wall, and see what the parts there are most conducive to you building or something you're interested in building. What's up, General Hux? How you doing, man? I'll give the sequels credit for creating some of my favorite characters in Star Wars, Poe, Finn, and Kylo. I agree. I love all the main characters of the sequels. Like Poe, Finn, Kylo, Rey. I love them. They make me feel. I mean, his master could save others from death. Makes sense he'd have some knowledge of it. I mean, that was never... I feel like, given the story of the prequels, I feel inclined to believe that that probably was not true. Why is Anakin crying in Episode 3? Why do you think he does that? I mean, that's you mean when he's looking out the window? He I mean, that's his kind of like, I know what I have to do moment. Like, I have to. That's him basically being like, I'm. My life as I knew it before is pretty much done. Like, I have to embrace the dark side to protect the person I love. So that was him showing a little bit of remorse. It's a good moment. I like it. Remember when we had the live stream party and I commented like 3 days later? I feel like I vaguely remember that. Lego Boy Creation says the transferring idea could have been true because in episode 6, when we thought he died, he could have transferred his pain to Vader. That sounds a little far fetched, guys. Like, that sounds goofy. Transferring pain. That seems like a bit much. If anything, why would he want to transfer his pain? Pain is... The Sith feed on pain. Most wanted Lego set that has not been made. For me, First Order Star Destroyer, UCS. If Rich Boy gummies were a real thing, what flavor would they be? I don't know. Glove flavor. Rey being unable to use the Force, being able to use the Force with zero training is a little far fetched. No. Luke used the Force without any training in the first movie to blow up the freaking Death Star. Anakin used the Force without any training in Episode 1 to blow up the Trade Federation ship. Rey at least spent her whole life fighting. Mind trick. I mean, that's her. Like, you don't need training to tap into the Force. It kind of guides your actions. The same way that Luke wasn't trained to move things with the Force, but he does that at the beginning of Empire. That was kind of her, like, I mean, Kylo says it himself, like, she's realizing her powers. I mean, Broom Kid could move the broom in The Last Jedi without any training. Like, it's whatever. Exactly, yeah. Connor just brought it up, yeah. Like, I think people they put too much emphasis on training. Like, sure, Luke has his training in Empire, but he never officially finishes it, right? Like, he leaves apparently when he had much more to learn, and he doesn't even go back. But by the time he goes back, like, Yoda there's not much more Yoda can offer him. Like, training is certainly important, I think, in kind of getting you in tune with your feelings and learning how to tap into the Force properly, but it's not like an end-all be-all. It's not like if you don't have training, there's no way you can ever use anything in regards to the Force. Like, the Force works in mysterious ways. F Verge Gaming says, I like your bars and cold like Hoss, so who's your favorite rap artist? All-time favorite rapper, probably Lil Wayne. Xavier says, Rey can use the Force without training, though. Jedi Mind Trick in Episode 7. Question mark. Luke and Anakin can only channel it. I mean, what's the difference? What's the difference between channeling it and using it? I mean, she wasn't perfect at it. She had to try 3 times before it worked. Enthred says, I like to think the training allows you to control it at will rather than when the need presents itself. I agree, yeah. Like, at the end of the day, like, the Force is going to guide your actions, and it's kind of based on instincts. So if you try to tap into it, it'll lead you to where you need to go, right? But yeah, I like the idea of you can kind of use it at will whenever you're whenever you're actually familiar with it. Do you prefer eyebrows Vader or no eyebrows Vader? Are you talking about like his helmet placement, like upper, like higher or lower? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Asking the Domino Paradox, asking the big questions. Favorite in-game scene? I have to think about that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, like, think about this. Like, that's like, it's like imagine playing basketball, right? Like, some people are just generally gifted at basketball. Like, maybe without any coaching, like LeBron James could go out on a court and be a pretty good player, like a better player than you'll probably ever be. With good coaching and like good practice, like he can kind of reach the epitome of his skill, but that doesn't mean that without practicing and without coaching, he's not able to like shoot a basketball or dribble or anything. Like, I'd like to think the Force kind of works the same way. Thomas says, isn't the complaint underlying lack of training one about plausibility? But most conflicts break that anyway, like Kenobi shouldn't have beat Maul. I feel inclined to believe there, but I'm fine with that. Like, for me, it's not an issue until people make it an issue. Like, Kenobi could beat Maul because he was gifted, and even though he probably was not trained as much as Darth Maul, or maybe as skilled as with a lightsaber as Darth Maul, he can tap into the Force and take advantage of Maul's overconfidence. I mean, this is a common theme with all Siths, right, or all dark side users. Their overconfidence almost always ends up being their undoing. Like, with Maul, he's just standing over Obi-Wan, assuming he's already won the fight before the fight's even over. Overconfidence. With Anakin, when he fights Obi-Wan, you know, he's like, Obi-Wan tells him, I have the high ground, which is a goofy line, but the point is, like, Anakin's like, he's overconfident. He's like, you know, I'm going to get through this. Like, I'm definitely going to win. And he underestimates what Obi-Wan can do. And boom, he ends up losing that battle. Same thing with Palpatine at the end of episode 6. Like, he was so sure that he had Vader in the palm of his hands. And that ultimately ends up being why he dies. So, I mean, this is something that we see all throughout Star Wars. But yeah, I generally think people put too much emphasis on training. Like, training is important, but it's not the end all be all. It's not like you're gonna freaking slice yourself in half with a lightsaber if you're not trained with it. For one, I mean, lightsabers and no one's really brought up lightsabers, so I won't make a big deal about that. But in general, like, the Force is mystical. The Force can guide you to do certain things. Like, apparently Anakin was the only person, or the only human who could, you know, pilot a pod racer. He wasn't like sat down and formally trained how to tap into the Force and be good at pod racing or anything like that, but he was just skilled enough to do it. Which is fine. It's fine for our heroes to be powerful. Thomas says it's mainly a prequel thing. There's so little training in the OT. Yoda was teaching Luke about self-belief and says as much. I mean, we don't really... I feel inclined... I mean, we see, like, the Jedi in the classroom, but I wouldn't say that we see any more training in the prequels. Like, I would say the original trilogy is probably top tier and the most holistic with showing us training. Like, we never saw Anakin train one bit, but we just accept that he's powerful because he's powerful. I mean, we assume the training happened. We didn't see, like, what happened, though. Apparently, he was too old in the first place. But whatever. It's whatever. People can be powerful. It's all good. B-Brick Studios says there's a common misconception about Sith. They're not evil. They just tap into emotions the Jedi don't use for their powers. I don't know. The Sith are... It's made pretty clear the Sith are evil. The things they crave are the reason they're evil. Like, their lust for power, their lust for control, the fact that they use their anger, like, those are all things that George Lucas is trying to tell us is bad. Like, I mean, there are many philosophical points you can make about, like, how the Jedi are and, like, why we consider the Jedi to be good. And I think George is essentially trying to tell us, like, when you're making decisions, you have to do them. You have to make your decisions from a place of like wisdom and contemplation, and I don't know, just really thinking it through. If you only act off of emotion, you're probably going to make bad decisions. So, I mean, that's up to interpretation, but that's just kind of the way I feel about it. This is a good talk, though. This is fun. Luke and Anakin's... So Brian says... Well, hold on. Josiah says, Luke and Anakin's abilities make sense because they have a connection to the Force. Anakin is born of the Force, and Luke is in that bloodline. However, Rey doesn't have any of that. See, that's where I disagree with you. Like, Anakin is the exception. That's not the rule. Like, every other Jedi we know doesn't come from a bloodline of Jedi. In fact, would be led to believe the exact opposite because of the fact that Jedis aren't allowed to have kids. So clearly, like, they had to. People just have a connection to the Force just because it's the Skywalker lineage is the exception. They're not the rule. Like, they're an outlier. Brian Riff says, I think people forget the Force was very spiritual. The prequels tend to treat it like part of a moveset, but in the OT, the Force of usage are almost biblical in their treatment. Yeah, exactly. It's mystical. It's not like a. It's not like a power level, you know. And to say that Rey doesn't have a connection to the Force, like, I mean, clearly she does. The fact that the lightsaber is calling out to her shows that she does. And even if she doesn't, like, fine. Like, certain people just have an affinity for the Force. Like, we see that with literally every Jedi that doesn't have the last name Skywalker. N-Bomb says, looking into buying your Falcon LED file, any buyer's tips? That's a good, I don't know. It's hard for me to give advice on that because the way I built it is probably different than the way you're going to build it. I would assume, I mean, if you're just trying to buy all the parts outright, then, I mean, I don't know, because I didn't do it that way. I had a pretty extensive parts collection when I decided to build it, but I don't know, maybe if you have specific questions, I can help you out more that way. Bricks and Stuff says, yeah, Rey's just a different type of Jedi and Star Wars fans don't like something different. I mean, I wouldn't even say that she's a different type of Jedi. People still forget that the Skywalkers are the exception. Like, before, like, outside of the Skywalkers, the Force is not hereditary. Like, if Obi-Wan had a kid, there's no guarantee the kid's gonna be, like, Force sensitive. That's literally just a Skywalker thing. So to put the burden on Rey and say, oh, she has to have some sort of, like, affinity to the Force other than just having it, like, that's unfair because literally every other Jedi is that way. Bricks by Bricks says he wants a huge clone army, but it's tough when LEGO releases a bunch of battle packs with only one or two clones and a bunch of Jedi you don't want, especially duplicates of it. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is nowadays. Seems like the days of us getting a battle pack with just, I mean, that battle pack with just all clones, it's probably done. I don't know. Brian says, Rey believes so thoroughly in the Force where Luke struggled to have faith at first. I think that's why she picks it up so quick. She also knew about the Force. Like, you have to think about it. Like, Luke didn't know what the Force was before Obi-Wan introduces it to him. Like, Rey has lived through, like, learning all these legends of Jedi. So I have no doubt that she knew what a Jedi mind trick was. Like, there's plenty of literature out there on Jedi by that point, especially with, you know, the rise and fall of the Republic, and then also, like, the legend of Luke Skywalker. So, I mean, for her to realize, oh, I have Force power, like, let me see if I can do this, and then she ends up being able to do it, like, that's fine. That seems consistent with what we've learned about the Force. Hug says, it's a really good conversation. It's nice to hear someone with a similar opinion as me. I'm glad you think so. And even if I didn't have a similar opinion of you, I would hope that this would at least teach you something, or that I could even learn things from you guys. Like I said, I'd like to get rid of this notion that it's bad for us to debate Star Wars or to argue Star Wars. Like, it's okay for us to have Star Wars conversations where we're not in complete agreement with each other. Imagine the 09 Clone Walker battle pack, but with Phase 2 clones. I mean, that'd be wonderful. That'd be great. Although, I mean, as rare as those, like, standard Phase 2 clones are, I'm not sure I'd want a big army of them. Only because we don't really see a bunch of them together at any given point. So, I don't know. Phase 2 guys are interesting in that respect. Connor says, I think Rey will rewrite the Force to sort of unite it as she goes to the dark side, showing she may have been able to mind control, balance herself instead of being Jedi and Sith. I don't understand. So are you saying she like could tap into both sides of the Force? I have no doubt that she will kind of establish a new Jedi Order. Maybe it won't even be called Jedi, it'll be called something else, but a new order of light side Force people. I'm fine. Breaks by Brick says, do you think Emperor Palpatine will actually be back in 9? Because in the trailer we heard him laughing at the end. I have no idea. I'm trying to stay away from speculating on that. So, yeah. Josiah Weber says, the Force isn't just random. Everyone has it. Just certain people are more open or adept to it. In the Episode 7 trailer, they said the Force is wrong in my family. Does he not say the Force is strong? Maybe that's a typo. I'm assuming you meant to say the Force is strong in my family. But yeah, no, I mean, Yoda tells us as much, like, the Force, it flows through all living things, and the thing that can maybe separate someone who could become a Jedi from just an average person is their ability to tap into it, their affinity to it, per se. The same way that some people just innately have, like, really good basketball skills, you know? Like, if me and LeBron James train and practice basketball the exact amount, I have no doubt that he will still end up being much better than I am, just because of genetic, innate gifts he has. And I like to think the Force is kind of that way. Brian Riff says, this is such a civil environment, TBH. I usually hate trying to debate Star Wars with people, but y'all are super cool. I'm glad you think that. That's the goal here. The goal is civil Star Wars discussion. We have to combat the notion that this is somehow a toxic fandom, which I understand it can be sometimes, but if we can help combat that by having positive discussions here, I feel I have succeeded in some way. Edward says, I thought he said Phase 1. Oh, no, I've said Phase 2. Obviously, we see tons of Phase 1 clones together. I mean, that's the only type of clone we ever see. We see, like, that's it. Like, it's all Phase 1 standard clones. Jay, have you seen Endgame? Yes, I have. What is your favorite Star Wars character? My favorite Star Wars character is Luke Skywalker. Trying to show my friend why I like The Last Jedi ruined our friendship, LMAO, so this is a fresh... See, that's so silly. That's so silly. Do you think the Separatists had the better military in the long run? No. The droids were so incompetent, and the movies clearly showed us that. I don't know. I'm sure George had his reasons, but I just thought it was so pointless to have the droids be so incompetent. They were basically like comic relief. Which, I mean, I guess is fine for a specific group of antagonists, but to have, like, the main enemy army be this group of just, like, dumb droids, I don't know. I never understood that decision. And then maybe you, like, get over that by saying, like, oh, like, the standard battle droids are kind of incompetent, but, like, the super battle droids are the real deal, the ones you should be concerned about. But then in Episode 3, they just have super battle droids being goofy as well. You stupid little astro droid. Shout out to Vandy and the Mountain 5. Did I pronounce that right? 502. It says, finally catching the live stream live to pitch in with my 2 and 4-year-old watching the Lego movie. Hope to do a mock, but gotta live through you for now. Thank you, man. That really does mean a lot. I'm curious, though, if you were to do a mock right now, what would you build? Let's assume you had infinite parts, infinite resources. Here are my questions to build it. What order did you build it in? What order did you buy it in? So I actually have a suggested, that'll come, whenever you buy the instructions, I basically include a PDF document that tells you, like, what order you need to build the things in and how. Armando and Guino says, I thought the purpose of the droids being so dumb was to amplify the feeling that the clones were an elite army. I feel like you show that the clones are an elite army by showing them like have success against another good army. The clones being able to like successfully beat down the droids doesn't make the clones look good. It just makes the droids look bad. Josiah Weber says, I hate the super battle droid voices in episode 3. Yeah, it's so bad. Like the episode 1 droids were fine, but the episode like episodes 2 and 3, they're just so torpy. B-Break says, I have to disagree with you. The droids were meant to overwhelm and always outnumber the clones. The clones were lesser in numbers, but they were more competent. I agree with Lucas there. I mean, that's fine, but the droids didn't have to be goofy. They didn't have to be comic relief. They didn't have to be buffoons, you know? I mean, I understand that they're mass-produced and that, like, that's the point. It's kind of the same thing with, like, TIE fighters, right? Like, this is a Special Forces one, but like, standard TIE fighters, like, they don't have shields. They're just fast, and they send them out in swarms, and that's kind of how they combat the X-Wings. But, like, they didn't go out of their way to make the TIE fighters look like bad ships. Like, they didn't have them just, like, randomly flying into stuff and, like, randomly blowing up. Like, they still, like, the TIE fighters still seemed like a competent ship by itself, even though it was kind of meant to overwhelm. It wasn't, one TIE fighter on its own was not as maybe, I don't know, as good in combat as an X-Wing, for example. But with the droids, like, not only was the point for them to, like, overwhelm people, but they were also, like, comic relief. That's my issue with it. That they were, like, they went out of their way to make the droids look, like, totally not a threat at all. I wish the lightsabers didn't just lop through droids like paper, and like stormtroopers could be silly while still being imposing, competent military voice. I mean, I wouldn't even describe the stormtroopers as silly, but like, I get the point you're trying to make. And Third says they were beaten by a 9-year-old in a starfighter. Yeah. Whoa! Jay, do you have at least one? You have to do at least one H2 Bricks mock in the mock showcase. Trust me, I come across as mocks all the time when I'm looking for them. The only reason I haven't is because I typically try to do people that don't already have like established channels. Like I understand, like I've had people like big mocks that I've kind of looked at, but the general point of it is to like show mocks to you that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. Like H2 Bricks puts all this stuff on YouTube. So I mean, unless you for the most part, a lot of people have seen his mocks. He's a relatively big YouTuber, so that's the only reason I haven't put him on there. But I mean, trust me, he is more than deserving of it. They were just the right kind of real, believable soldiers. Stormtrooper can doink his head and still be scary. Yeah, exactly. Droids are just stupid. Yeah. It's almost as if there was extra effort placed into the droids' programming to give them their personalities. They placed like moron programming. I mean, this was like the droids in episode 1 were fine. Like, I mean, they still kind of cut through them like butter, but they didn't have like the nerdy voice. And they were, I mean, their voice was actually kind of like menacing in episode 1. And then episode 2 and 3, they just were like, let's make them funny, because why not? R2-D2 is more dangerous than Battle Droid. Exactly. Do you think Anakin regretted going to the dark side? I mean, he probably had some regrets, but he clearly embraced it. It won't matter. Yeah, exactly. Was it Qui-Gon who said that? Or he's like, there won't be a problem whenever there's droids coming up. And it's just like, well, like, as me watching this film, why should I be interested in this scene if clearly the droids are not a threat at all? I think the excuse is that they're no longer controlled from a central station. Are they not controlled from a central station in episode 2 and 3? Like, that's what we're meant to believe. I don't understand. Dang, I haven't been in a J live stream since he just started building the Gorilla Walker foot. Holy crap, that's a long time ago. I'm glad you're back. I do still love the droid talking about searching the swamp for the Gungans. The one battle droid I actually found menacing. Yeah, the episode 1 battle droids I thought were fine. I mean, even though the Jedi still cut through them like butter, they were a lot more menacing. Alright, see ya, Coalescence Connor. Thanks for coming through, man. Droids relied on batteries that needed to be recharged. I mean, every droid relies on batteries that needs to be recharged, right? Someone selling a custom Boston ass figure on eBay. Do you want the link? Sure, why not? I'll check it out. Send it to me on Instagram. If you send it to me here, I probably won't be able to come back and find it easily. I think they stopped using command centers after it got blown up episode 1. I think they all have individual control from episodes 2 and on. Okay. I still don't find that an excuse to have them, like, dumb, but I'm fine with believing that. Just saw your Monster Mutt tributes. My most watched video. Call me Mask because I'm a boss. Yeah, you can shoot it to me on Discord. I'll check it out there. JJG, why are you typing upside down, my guy? The fighters fit in well with the mock now that they are white. Glad you think so. I love it. This is my favorite TIE fighter design, the Special Forces First Order TIE fighter, and having it the white wings I think just looks freaking epic. I love it. Jay, did you enjoy General Kalani from the Clone Wars and Rebels? Honestly, don't even know who that is. Jog my memory, because I don't know who that is. It is not my design. It's designed by Jarek. The Brickvault sells the instructions to them. I'm glad you appreciate Cold Like Hoth. That was a fun song. I think that's. Well, I like Murder on Anakin's Mind. I think Cold Like Hoth might still be my favorite song that I've done. What do you think is the worst, the most overrated / underrated? I think the most overrated Star Wars film is easily Revenge of the Sith, and the most underrated Star Wars film, I don't know, Last Jedi, I guess. People totally crap on that movie, but it's my third favorite Star Wars movie. Super Tactical Droid, the one who helped the Rebels in Star Wars Rebels. The Tactical Droid leading the Lost Battalion. Honestly, is it the blue droid with the rectangular head? It's always so tough to get people to answer my comments on stream. Well, here you go. I feel like the droids not being menacing is partly because they were made 20-ish years ago. The droids in today's time aren't as fantastic as they were back then. CJ, I mean, that's not an excuse. Like, the stormtroopers were menacing enough, and that was made in, the 1970s/80s. The droids didn't have to be that way. I mean, they didn't have to be, like, total killers, but they didn't... Making them comic relief, I feel, is too far in the other direction. And third says Rogue One, of course. No, I think people generally like Rogue One. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Definitely Episode 4. Vandy and the Mountain 502 says, I do love the Starkiller base idea, though, man. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that. Length and width of this mock. So when this mock is done, it's going to be 4 gray base plates wide. It'll be 4 gray base plates and a 32x32 base plate wide, and 12 gray base plates long. I think that's it. Yeah. It's the same. Ross is only so enjoyable because it actually tried to finally tell the story the prequels were built to tell instead of meandering around for 2 films. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The Super Tactical Droid is more the advanced version of the Tactical Droid. General Kalani appeared in the Clone Wars episodes that featured Saw Gerrera. Okay, I'm just going to look him up because I have no idea who that is. So is Kalani a droid or a person? Do you like the Solo Millennium Falcon? Says, I have it, but I don't like the white because in the movie it wasn't really white. I mean, I guess the point of making it white and yellow, I mean, white and Lego, was it was brighter originally than what we see in the films. General Kalani. Oh, okay. Okay, this is a super tactical droid. It looks familiar, but like I couldn't tell you like where this was from or what this droid did. Apparently, it was around during the Onderon arc, but I don't remember this at all. Okay, now that I'm looking at pictures of it, okay, it looks. I guess it looks vaguely familiar to me. I don't know. Enthred says, I'd love to build the Falcon as we see it on Savareen. Just a real scrap pile. Yeah. Dude, that thing was a mess. I was so mad. That scene was spoiled for me whenever Han's like, I got hired guns in the Falcon and then it just flies off. That was like, I mean, it wasn't really spoiled. I clicked on the video to watch it. But they like, I don't know. That was one of the videos, like the clips that was uploaded before the film came out. So I checked it out and I was like, that was hilarious. But I would have preferred to have seen it for the first time during the film. Jay, what are those blue parts in the bag? So these are just 1x4 plates. I put them, you can kind of see them right here. So there's white on the outside for the border. And then I put the blue plates behind it so I can have the slopes on both of these be the same height. Clones is Mondo bad TBH. How about we make a whole movie introducing the idea of clone soldiers that's delaying the actual war into the third part of the trilogy? I agree. Attack of the Clones should have just been the first movie, and then maybe you can just have the second movie be devoted to the Clone Wars. Like episode 2 should just be called Star Wars Episode 2: The Clone Wars. And there's maybe like a couple, maybe like 3 battles. And along the way, like, Anakin, gets closer to the dark side. Like I said, like my idea is to have episode 2 starts off with a battle at Camino. And then the droids show up and just decimate everything. And then at that point, the facility's broken. They can't clone people anymore. So then the stakes are kind of heightened, and that motivates the Republic to kind of be like, we need to end this war now because we don't have enough troops to keep it going for much longer. So, and then that also kind of leads into the whole like why stormtroopers ended up being a thing, like because there were no more clones being made. There was only a finite amount, and maybe even a very small amount by the end of episode 3. Enter says, oh really? I'm surprised they choose that clip. Always thought the Falcon should have had a harder time taking off at that point. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But the Phantom Menace was epic. Do you really believe that, Creed? Would you put some money behind that statement? Jay, do you think Phasma's the sequel's Boba Fett gets hyped up like they're important in the movie, but they're just there so they can sell toys and stuff? I mean, I don't know. If any of you are old enough to tell me this, then let me know. But was Boba Fett actually hyped up before the movie? I think he just he was just kind of around in the background and people took a liking to him. But I wouldn't say he was, I don't imagine Boba Fett was any of like any of the promotional material other than that holiday special. What's up, St. John? Or was he? Yeah, he was in the holiday special, right? That was when we first saw Boba Fett. Point being, no, No, like Phasma, I think had a little bit more to do than Boba Fett did. Like she's just like she looks cool. That's kind of why she gets shown so much. But she was never meant to be like the main villain, or even the second main villain, or even the third main villain. Like the hierarchy, I feel was always presented as, you know, Snoke, Kylo, Hux, and then her. So I think like given that hierarchy, she does enough for where she ranks there, in my opinion. Shout out to Josh Pierce, who apparently just got back from training at his Lego store. That sounds awesome. Brian says, I like that idea. I struggle to find a good conflict to drive a rewritten episode 2 before I'm concerned, but the clone facility being destroyed is good and tense. See, yeah, I'm glad you agree. I like that idea a lot. And then at that point, maybe like the Republic starts to go on more like the offense, and I don't know, they can maybe they have like 2 planets they need to go conquer or something. I don't know, whatever. But yeah. Enter says, I do think the Phantom Menace had the best look out of the prequels. A lot of elements felt very tangible. Oh, I absolutely agree. Episode 1 just seems more in spirit with traditional Star Wars, I feel. I still just think episode 1 is just boring. Also, like the biggest problem with episode 1 is compared to, I think episode 1 has the lowest stakes out of any Star Wars film. Like the whole climax, I feel. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you care about Qui-Gon, it's kind of a big deal. But like, I don't know. It doesn't. At the end of episode 1, you don't feel. It's not like a satisfying ending. Like, Darth Maul shows up and dies in the same film, so it's like, okay, you know, whatever. The Gungans won the battle. Woo. Anakin blew the ship up. Whatever. I don't know. It just feels kind of anticlimactic. Donald Paradox says, Jay, do you feel Lego cheaped out by not including a figure in the May the 4th set? I don't feel like cheaped out. I just feel like they just don't want to do that anymore, which is sad. I loved getting May the 4th figures, but, you know, it is what it is. Brian Riff says, Phantom Menace special effects are pretty impressive for the time. I believe Jar Jar was there, even though I didn't really want him to be. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars special effects in general are good to great. Some of the stuff in the prequels, like the over-reliance on it, I feel is where the issue goes. But in general, the effects, they're good, especially for the time. Josiah Weber says episode 3 is the most in line with the feel of Star Wars. I disagree. I mean, Anakin's like a big part of it, so maybe it feels more familiar because we're dealing with Vader. But I just feel like, I don't know, episode 1, in like, if you compare the original trilogy to all the prequels, episode 1 I feel kind of matches it more. Because I mean, it's kind of the story of episode 4, right? Like they go to a desert planet and find, you know, a young boy who, you know, has potential and has aspirations to do great things, but is kind of stuck in the situation, and they end up taking him with them to go do something. And at the end of the film, he blows up a big ship. That wasn't like the main point, but you can see like it's definitely more in line with the original trilogy. Josh Pierce, I would say don't talk about it, but yeah, I'm glad that you're going to be starting at a Lego store. It's a great job. Enter says it's odd they made tons of miniatures for the prequels, yet they slapped so much post-production over the top they no longer look like miniatures. I agree. Like, I was watching, actually, the other day, the making of episode 1, and they had this, like, rig for the Naboo starfighter. I don't remember what, it was one of them that got shot down, and they basically had a miniature that was, like, on a rig where it, like, flew towards the camera and exploded. And I was like, the Naboo starfighters never look realistic in the film. So yeah, I always thought that was interesting. And I mean, the sequels kind of do a little bit of that too. Like I remember looking at it was the making of episode 7, and there's this scene where like Unkar is talking, and this is before post-production, and like the face looked like perfect, but like he got like a CGI face in the actual film, and it looked less real. So I didn't love that. That freaking storm ruined the Mos Espa set. Yes, it did. Like, that was... I can only imagine what that might be like. I mean, the same thing happened during episode 4, but I don't know what it is about when they get to Tunisia. Brian Riff says, sad they never made real clone armor. You could show me a still from episode 2 and I'd say it's a Clone Wars still and I'd believe it. Yeah, pretty much. No, like that, I will never understand that. The decision to not make even a single piece of actual clone armor. I don't know, I think just the Clone Wars, the show in general, made clones a lot cooler than they were presented in the films. Like, the clones had cool ships in the films, but, like, they never had important speaking roles or anything like that. Like, they were kind of, I'd say, honestly, we may have more, like, on-screen time of, like, droids talking than we do of clones, which is kind of sad. I mean, the droids have another movie, but still, like, the clones are supposed to be a big deal, right? I mean, there's a whole show centered around them, yet the movies kind of made them, I don't know, not important or less important. I think that's a big reason why real-life fan-made clone armor never looks real. No, I totally agree. I mean, it looks real, but it looks unfamiliar because we never saw real armor on screen. Jay, do you think LEGO should release a Coruscant Guard battle pack or a generic Jedi battle pack with double-sided faces and general neutral torsos? I don't think a generic Jedi battle pack would go a long way. I mean, they could. I'd rather them just do like named Jedi, but named obscure Jedi. That'd be fine. Kind of like with the Rogue One, like the Rebel battle pack. Like, if you didn't know who they were, you would say, "Oh, these are just generic rebels." But if you look closely enough, you'll see they're all based on someone. So I would like if they did something like that. But as far as a Coruscant Guard battle pack, yeah, why not? Give us your... Are you talking about like the... I've had this discussion before, because someone said it before and I was like, we do have them, but those are the Senate Guards, those aren't the Coruscant Guards. The Coruscant Guards are the... I don't remember. I'd advise rewatching episode 1, Space Battle. Those ships are very tangible in my eyes, unlike anything seen in Flight in 2 or 3. Shock Troopers. Yeah, okay. That's it. Yeah, Shock Troopers are... That's probably the battle pack I'd want the most. Coruscant Guards are red clones. Okay, I feel like every time someone brings up Coruscant Guards, I have this exact same moment where I'm like, are they talking about Senate Guards or Shock Troopers? I don't remember. Strawberries. Yo, I'm gonna make an all-red clone squadron called Strawberry Squad. I'll be Clone Commander Strawberry. To answer your question earlier about what mock I do something Lord of the Rings. Oh, okay. I know among the Lord of the Rings fans, Helm's Deep is usually one of the more popular battles that people want to recreate. What are the Blue Guards seen at the end of episode 1? Are those not the Senate Guards? Don't forget the strawberry seedlings for the armor. Yes! Red, like, so it'd be a green helmet, red armor, and, like, black dots all over you. And yes, Vonreg, I mean, yes, DMK, those shock troops will be very useful for you. Welcome back, Ace Gamer Studios. Create a clone squadron called Fruit Squad. The idea of this clone squad called Fruit Squad is just hilarious. He says, multicolored clones named after a fruit based on the color of their armor markings. Yes. Commander Banana. Captain Grapes. Mango Fett. Still a better name than Alphabet Squadron. 27th Banana Corps. The Fruit Loop. Yo, Fruit Loops are so clutch. Shout out to Fruit Loops. I want to know what everyone's favorite cereal is in the chat. Let me know. Whoever picks the best cereal will get a shout out on this stream. I am the fruit. Good fruits follow orders. Fruity Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles are dope. The only bad thing about Fruity Pebbles are that they get soggy so quickly. For me, it's all about Fruit Loops. I'd always see people praising the Mustafar fight for its choreography and animation, but it feels like a Mario final level. I don't really care for the Mustafar final duel. Like, I think the location is cool. Like, it's a cool place to fight. That's fine. But it gets over the top. Like, when they're swinging from ropes, like, swinging their lightsabers at each other, it's just so goofy. I eat them dry, lol. No, man, I need the milk with them. That's why it's all about Fruity Pebbles and Captain Crunch. Like, what are Fruit Loops? Let's say I meant Fruit Loops and Captain Crunch. And do you not know what Fruit Loops are? Something English that doesn't exist in America, probably. I find a lot of cereal bland. Have you tried Fruit Loops? He needs that milk. Fruit Loops are overrated. No, they are not. I think it needed more talking, less lava. Ewan saved the scene, though. He really sells that emotion. Yeah. Yeah, basically. I like them. Something like those I prefer because they have flavor. Yeah. I pour blue milk in my Captain Crunch. That's the way to go. Anything with blue milk, I guess. Salt instead of sugar. Hashtag health. Salt. 501st loop, now part of these cup of what? Sour Patch cereal. I saw that. That sounds awful. I never had it. How is it? It's garbage. Okay. Good to know. Horrible. I have no idea what Fruit Loops is. How do you guys not know what Fruit Loops are? Fruit Loops are everything. I had Sour Patch Kids cookies before. Ugh. Ugh. We got so carried away asking ourselves, could we? Without asking ourselves, should we? Salt, when a Star Wars quote is so generic, you can say it anytime, anywhere. Yes. Don't forget about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I've actually never had that. Are they like Cheerios? Yeah, they're basically fruity Cheerios. So are Fruit Loops like exclusively an American thing? Every word is a quote, for example, A. I'm pretty sure they said A at some point in Star Wars. You got any money in the bank? What's up, Sandy, by the way? Says, I think Drew McIntyre and Ember Moon will win. Honestly, I have no idea what the card is for Money in the Bank. Imagine if Star Wars had end credit scenes. Star Wars doesn't really need end credit scenes. Oreo O's is where it's at. Is that an actual thing? It sounds good. Star Wars shower thought. C-3PO should have been the one to rail against sand. Let Anthony Daniels let out some long dormant Tunisia beef. Yes. Jay, what character do you think Lego should have made as a May the Fourth promotion? He says a red or white Darth Vader. I mean, I prefer getting like figures that are actually of stuff, like obscure characters. So I mean, Chrome Phasma would have. I mean, Phasma's not obscure, but Chrome Phasma would have been cool. Ice Cream Guy from Cloud City. I don't know, just anything that we don't usually get. Like even if they made the Bubble Suit Finn the May the Fourth figure, I would have been happy. But I don't know. So, oh god. Closest Star Wars gets to Darth Vader breathing at the very end of one. That's a good point. So I wanted to talk to you guys about something. So Garrett and I were talking the other day about like something that because everyone feels that Episode 9 has to tie the trilogy together, quote unquote, which is whatever to me. Like I just want them to tell the story they're going to tell. The fact that it's Star Wars and we're dealing with Skywalker still, I think that's sufficient. But I think that maybe a cool way to build in something that we see in all the trilogies is to have them actually go back to Tatooine. And I know this sounds like, oh, like we go to Tatooine all the time. Like, what more could they possibly offer us in Tatooine? But check this out. So imagine if in Episode 6, for whatever reason, they have to go back to Tatooine, and it's like totally developed at this point. Like once the Hutts died, or once Jabba died, the Hutts kind of lost control of the area, and like people started like going in and like investing in it and like actually like built it up. So imagine like Tatooine ends up being like Dubai in space. There's like giant buildings everywhere. Like it's still in the desert, but like there's all these like man-made additions to it that make it like almost like Coruscant but in the desert, if you imagine. I mean Episode 9. That's Episode 6. So yeah, at the end of Episode 9, they go back to Tatooine, and a way to switch it up. I'm sorry, I guess I said Episode 6. I'm at Episode 9. Don't kill me. But yeah, like imagine if they like went back to Tatooine, and it's like you're like expecting for it to be another like desert sequence or whatever, but instead we go there and it's like totally developed. I think that'd be like interesting. If we have to go back to Tatooine again as kind of our last hoorah for like, oh yeah, like this kind of joins prequels, sequels, and original trilogy. I think it'd be dope to have Tatooine be developed. What if Tatooine is Jakku? But it's not Jakku. It was a comic that was a what if Anakin's of Episode 6's armor afterwards was white. Oh, okay. That's interesting. If they go back, I'd like them to surprise us in such a way. Yeah, like that would be cool. Like everyone's like dreading. Oh, I guess at this point they would know. They would know like about Tatooine, but maybe they just go there. They don't really know what to expect, and they get there and it's like just giant buildings everywhere, and it's like whoa. Like last I heard of this place, it was a total mess, but this is cool. But one better indoor, but now it's Ewok Coruscant. I can just imagine a bunch of speeders crashing into stuff everywhere. On the topic of fan service, I'm really worried about this Old Republic trilogy will just be adapted stories from the KOTOR instead of something fun and new. Yeah, I mean, so I don't think it will be. I think if it does end up being Old Republic, which we're honestly still not even sure about, I trust that it will be new stuff. Really just because, like, KOTOR had fans, but in terms of like the grand scheme of Star Wars fans, it wouldn't really mean much for them to give KOTOR fan service all throughout it. Like that's not gonna hit as many people as they want to hit. That's not gonna hit the average moviegoer who just like casually knows about Star Wars. So I feel more confident that an Old Republic trilogy would fare a lot better in the terms of giving us new stories. Jay, what Star Wars movie should I watch tonight? I own all. Watch Episode 4. It's the best one. Yes, sorry, I was like helping my friend with the film project. Now I'm working on stands for the next Harry Potter wave. What do you mean stands? Like, is there a vehicle in it? Or you mean like for minifigs? I'm worried Disney is taking the wrong message and steering for fan service in the future. I mean, I'm concerned about that too. I think that's why Palpatine is even being mentioned in episode 9. Like, they try to say, like, oh, like, this was always a plan. I don't believe that for 1 second. I feel it's just like a gut overreaction to maybe how some people felt about episode 8, which really irks me. Like, at the end of the day, like, if Star Wars is going to progress, if Star Wars is going to, like, continue, we're going to have to move on past the old stuff. Enter says, I suspect they'll tell a whole new story because we will just see a repeat of a whole Legends versus canon arguments. Yeah. No, they're like detailed base plates for the sets to be displayed on. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Interesting. Mustafar is the best city. It's the only, I mean, I guess we see Cloud City. It's the biggest city we've seen in Star Wars. Dantooine becomes a plant trafficking planet and rename. Oh my god, Creed. What are you doing? Keep it PG, man. Do you think there will be talking about Snoke in episode 9? I mean, they might reference him, but I don't think we're going to learn too much about him. Sacred Bricks, what's going on, dude? Also, if you think about it, Snoke seems weak. No. But, okay. I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was fine. It's 11:51 p.m. I'm off my rockers. I mean, that's not that late, but I'll give you the BOTD. That's slang for benefit of the doubt. No one's ever really gone. I used to love that line. And then they had to go mess it up. How many base plates so far? Like total in the mock, or that I've gotten done? I guess 1 1/10. I finished this one up and I'm working on this one now. Unsurprisingly, this stream has mostly just been us talking about Star Wars. So, I mean, I've gotten a decent amount of work done, but nothing to write home about. But I'm more than happy with the engagement on this stream. Brian Riff says, TBH, I think maybe you could sell Palpatine having a super long-term plan that the First Order and Rebellion have to fight together, since it make the Palpatine as Anakin's thing, dad thing in comics less dumb. I mean, I love Palpatine. I love the Emperor. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. But I don't want to see him episode 9. I'm just, no, I don't want to see it. Move past it. Move past, out with the old, in with the new. Sheesh. Jay, whichever built Lego mechs, you should build an astromech mech. Honestly, like, people love building mechs. I don't really care for mechs, I'll be completely honest. Palpatine is Star Wars God. Palpatine is Star Wars God, and Vader is Star Wars Jesus. Vonreg says it's still a Skywalker saga, and Palpatine is a big part of it. I mean, I don't disagree that he's a big part of the saga, but he died. I miss when dead Star Wars characters stayed dead. If everyone can have an impact, well, I don't know. I won't get into that, but I'm fine with him not being in the movie. Like, the whole First Order is basically a result of Palpatine. Like, he's not around for it, but they're basically trying to finish what the Empire started, right? So even he doesn't necessarily have to be around to still have an impact. Like, if it weren't for Palpatine, the First Order wouldn't be around. I think that's fine. That's sufficient. You don't need to literally bring him back to make that point. But like I don't know. Also, Jay, when will you learn that you can't trust the deaths of people who fall down holes? I keep falling for it. Clearly, they keep getting me. The only mech I'd build is a version of Anakin's pod racer, so Anakin's friends will finally see it run. How long have you been waiting to tell that joke? Vonreg says Snoke was a placeholder, I think. I mean, if they decide to do that, they can do that, but I wouldn't want to see that. I mean, for me, Snoke was just, maybe I agree, Snoke was a placeholder, but I liked him just being a placeholder before Kylo Ren took full reign of the First Order. Like, that was part of Kylo's arc. Like, Snoke's whole point of being involved was to serve Kylo's arc in the films. Austin. You already know why I can't invite you, man. They always go play ball. You're gonna be bug squat. That laugh track in that scene is so cringy. Domino Paradox says, I don't get how Snoke died when Maul and Anakin survived worse. Because people should... I mean, that's... So I don't think Anakin survived worse, but Maul... Like, those are the exceptions to the rule. Like, the standard should not be, like... Oh, you can survive being cut in half. Like, I mean, they changed it with Maul, which irritates the heck out of me. But it should not be the case that if someone gets cut in half in Star Wars, you should expect for them to still be alive. Point being, it's okay for people to die in Star Wars. I love Snoke TBH. Palpatine represented Vader's consumption by power, and even the OT. Snoke was a representation of Kylo manifesting his own destiny instead of being a slave. That's an interesting perspective. I like Snoke a lot. I just like the character of Snoke. Like, regardless of his place in the galaxy and kind of where he fits into the First Order, I like his character a lot. Like, he was just so overconfident, and he was a total D-word to Kylo Ren, and I just loved him for it. Like, getting to see him actually talk in the Last Jedi, I thought was great. And I also, like, love the way he used the Force, right? Because I feel like we've seen so many different people use the Force in different ways that it takes creativity to come up with a character that really has their own identity with the Force and the way they use it, and that kind of represents their character from it. So the fact that, like, he literally just, like, he controls humans like chess pieces. Like, we didn't need to see Snoke get up and fight someone with a lightsaber. Like, he was clearly very powerful without having to just go back to, oh, let's give him a big red lightsaber because he's tall. Like, he literally just moves people around with the Force like it's nothing. And I thought that was really cool for his character. Do you think the Snoke minifigure should have used the Woody legs and arms instead of regular legs and arms? I don't think anything should ever use the Woody legs and arms because it just doesn't look good. I mean, Snoke's tall, but he's not that tall. Like, Chewbacca has normal legs and arms. I think it's fine for Snoke to have normal legs and arms. What do you think of the new Tantive 4? I like it a lot. Oops, Ryan seemed to like playing off that Palpatine chess match to your trope. I love it. Yo, do you like the mini shorts of Star Wars Adventures? I'm not sure what that is. What is that? Welcome back, Jake Turco. What's the progress for today? Hold on, I'll show you. So I got this base plate finished up and working on this one right here. Vonreg says, check this out. That reminds me of on the Disney Channel back in the day. They would like show off kids and like their collections and talents. And the slogan would always be, check this kid out. Shout out to old school Disney Channel. Jay, have you got all the 20th anniversary sets? Yes. Yes, I do. I bought them all day one. Boy, I didn't even notice that base plate. That's so good. Thank you. Yo, I'm hyped for Resistance Season 2 as well. Jay, what's your favorite 20th anniversary collection? What is your 20th anniversary Han collection I have 4? I have 3 at the moment. When do you think you might be done with your Starkiller mock? The goal is to be done with it by the end of the year. Right before episode 9. Or maybe after it. Resistance Season 2, yeah, yeet! Vonreg is always just so lit, I swear. He says, you make the scattered pieces look so natural. I thought it was a mess on your desk for a second. Thank you. I like doing the snow pattern on here. It's fun. My favorite OG Disney show was Lab Rats. Oh my god, that is not an OG Disney show. An OG Disney show is like impossible. Jay, you plan on getting the Stranger Things set? I'm sure I will at some point. I've only watched a couple episodes of the show. I actually liked it a lot. I just never finished it. So maybe one day. I think the Lego set will motivate me to actually like finish watching it. Wasn't Lab Rats on Disney XD? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Wait, is Lab Rats the show with what's her name? What's the girl's name? I don't even remember her name. No, I don't think it was that show, though. My show for Nicktoons is that football head looking guy, and for Cartoon Network, Curious the Cowardly... Okay, that football head looking guy is Arnold, and that show is Hey Arnold, and it's Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love that. Curious the Cowardly Dog. Curious George the Cowardly Monkey. Curious the Curious Monkey. Will you watch the Mandalorian new Clone Wars series? Absolutely. So, I've been streaming for like 3 hours, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and hang it up. I'm honestly hungry. I'd like to go eat. So, yeah, that's all I got for you. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Thought I had a really good time. We had just a really good and fulfilling Star Wars discussion today, in my opinion. I feel it was very civil, which is always the goal here. Okay, hang up then there. Jeez, Vonreg. Vonreg has a bit of a temper. I'm sorry, man. I want to go eat. Let me eat. Anyways, Domino Paradox says, did you find out Grumpy Cat passed away? Yeah, I did. DMK says, are you ready, kids? Okay, yeah. Do I expect new sets for Mandalorian and Clone Wars? Mandalorian, yes. Clone Wars, no, because we don't even know when that's actually coming out. Cosmic 44, I'm sorry, man. Don't eat stream. I mean, if I don't eat, I won't be able to stream. And Commander Blueberry, shout out to you. Last question, did you ever watch the Clone Wars movie? Nope. When will the subscriber stream be? Do you mean like when I will have people on for guests? I'm honestly not sure. I'd like to do one sometime next week, though. We can check into that if that's what you mean. But that is all. I really appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Like I always say, you guys make this all worthwhile. If I didn't have you here to talk to you during the streams, it would be pointless. It would be boring. So it means the world to me that you will give me your time and come check out me doing this crazy Lego YouTube thing. So everyone bash the prequel so Jay keeps streaming. That's a way to keep me on, but not today because I'm hungry. But yeah, I love you all. Take care, guys. Tomorrow we're gonna be a Let's Play. Sunday it'll be the Starkiller update. So yeah, tune in.